Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. I hope you're enjoying the show because the show is getting uglier and uglier by the day. Lots going on all around the financial world, all around the spiritual world, all around the government world, all around the fraud world. Great discussion last night on Rumble. Go to Rumble, Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic, Jean/Claude, Cloud, as he says, C-L-A-U-D, at Beyond Mystic. Great discussion. Janine and Julie and Jean-Claude are basically looking at the stuff that Dick Allgaier and Cliff High were looking at about those near coming dates and the drama that's unfolding. I'm talking to Jenny today. Love the spiritual side of the gold and silver battle and the battle for humanity. So we're going to be talking about that today as well. I will post that on the private road. But go check this one out. Interesting. They got a couple dates even. October, this is from Julie. Looks like the biggest potential date is October 28th. If you haven't seen the Cliff work or the remote viewing work, a lot of it in the remote viewing side looked at like natural disasters and man-made disasters. Definitely man-made, as in someone's going to decide to do something. Very little of the RV work centered around politics. Around finance, which is very interesting if you ask me, because if any of that stuff blows, then the very fragile financial system will be destroyed. So it's a chicken and the egg thing. Which is going to come first? The destruction of the financial system, and then the bad guys fire off all the dirty tools they have, hurricanes, earthquakes, you name it, or is it the other way around? But they are both causational. So if there is an earthquake in California that half of California dumps into the sea, that many have predicted for 1,000 years, that would obviously take down the financial system. If there is a hurricane that takes out New York City, that would cause a ripple in the financial system. The financial system is so weak right now. The bad guys are looking for a way out. They're looking for a force majeure, saying, it's not our fault, it's not our fault. But it is their fault, and we know it's their fault. So they will be the ones to blame. They won't be deciding the new financial system. They will be the ones we blame for you losing your 401k, you losing your stock and your bonds and your checking account and your savings account, and the death and destruction that will follow. They should be the ones to blame, and they are the ones to blame. Now, there are various ways this can all happen, but it all stems upon the destruction of the old system, the debt-based fiat monetary system that is just completely out of control right now. So today is the 21st of September, which means on Monday, our friends over at J.P. Morgan Chase, the biggest criminal bank in the history of mankind, will get out of their deferred prosecution agreement for the rigging of silver, gold, and U.S. Treasuries, but mainly silver. Let's face it, it's mainly silver. They signed a 3-year deal where they'll pay $920 million up front and plead guilty to all the crimes that were committed, which is, tens of thousands of rig jobs. Tens of thousands, and they pleaded guilty to them. A couple of their guys are in jail right now. Let's see where, I think I found I had an article on. You guys have probably seen that the two head traders at JP Morgan, they only have to serve a year's worth of jail time, and countless millions were paid to them to keep their mouth shut. So they're sitting pretty with, they probably, plus time served and good behavior, they're probably out tomorrow. But if the DOJ comes down on JP Morgan between now and Monday, that agreement is over and the RICO charges come back on the table. And there's a myriad of things that the Department of Justice can charge J.P. Morgan with, and Jamie Dimon. Child trafficking being probably the number one most important because, they were heavily involved with Jeffrey Epstein's work. The board of J.P. Morgan was involved with Epstein's work. Jamie Dimon was involved with Epstein's work. Hopefully they'll pull that down and say, okay, the deferred prosecution agreement, you didn't live up to it. You got busted for this, this, and this on Sunday night before it expired. So we're reopening the case of silver manipulation, gold manipulation, and treasury manipulation. And, oh, by the way, there's a million other crimes that you guys are committed. The game's over. Will that happen? Nah, I don't know. The DOJ doesn't want to be the one to blame either. Nobody wants to be the one to blame for pressing the button and destroying the global monetary system. But definitely the collapse of J.P. Morgan obviously would destroy every single bank, every mutual fund, every stock, bond market around the world. They are the largest criminal bank, but the largest bank in the U.S., the largest bank derivative holder in the U.S. They're intertwined in everything you do, I do, and the whole system would be wiped clean by the hand of God. That's the type of thing that lives up to the language of what Cliff High's saying and the remote viewers are saying, although they see it more as a natural disaster type of thing. There is something called data masking that Dick Allgaier talked about many times in his work with remote viewing, where an entity, a powerful entity such as the cabal, the deep state, the dark magic people, could mask the target with something like, if you're looking for a financial collapse, what will you see? You'll see an earthquake, a tsunami, the closing down of the Capitol building, which Dick Allgaier saw. And that's the end of the dollar time. So it's all happening right now. No, we don't know the date. Silver is primed to move forward, even in their old game. So right now, silver is below the 100-day moving, or the 3 moving averages, which are the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day. Right here, you can see it's just hovering below. When it breaks above that, it's usually a nice big run. This is in the old game. Given that we understand that the price of anything on any exchange is determined through derivative trading of that actual underlying asset. And that's any asset. So your Apple stock, 100% rigged. Your corn futures, 100% rigged. Oil and gas, 100% rigged. The value of currencies around the world, 100% rigged. That's how powerful the computers and computer trading programs that Alan Greenspan invented in the 1970s when he invented our electronic financial system. Hang on one second. It's my wife calling. She's got to wait. It's the Horn of Z's. Extremely powerful market manipulation ability. But do they want to go on? If the United States controls it still, which I believe they do, how long do they want it to go on? As long as they are the ones in the catbird seat, they want to go on forever. If they're losing control and other countries are benefiting more from the game than we are right now, which is true, China, Russia, India, almost every other country is benefiting more than the United States. The United States is in free fall right now. So I would think, having studied this for 25 years now, that it's just about time to press that button and destroy the old system. And then we start new. We start fresh, which is what the Road to Ruta documents that came out of the Fed were all about. Trade will end. We just got to keep that in our mind. Well, there'll be plenty to do in the United States. We're going to issue our own currency. Well, we don't even have to issue it. Well, we do. The currency of the United States is gold and silver. That's our constitutional money. Everything else is a debt-based thing invented by the bankers. Even all the stock certificates and bond certificates that trade every day, and Apple computer, every share trades every 10 days, every 15 days, which is ridiculous because most people keep their Apple stock stuck in their retirement account. None of it should be trading of that in the retirement accounts, but no. They trade derivative shares. This is all phantom trades to set price. And that's what Alan Greenspan invented and ran it through a guy named Stephen Duveau in the 70s into the 80s. He worked at the Fed Boston. And then it kind of, they had to put Greenspan as head of the Fed in order to fulfill the road to Ruta theory. Print as much money as you can, soaking up all the benefits, build your roads, your houses, your military, and then pull the trigger and explode it when the time is up. Greenspan tried to do it 2 months after he got into office in 1987. Black Monday, it's called. It was a computer-generated crash of the markets. And then he tried to do it by blowing up the dot-com bubble. And then the big thing he did, along with Larry Summers and Robert Rubin in the late 90s, is to make sure that derivatives, these crazy side bets, were not regulated. And that's what caused the 2007, 2008 crash. That's what is going to cost the next crash. The derivative market is $2.5 quadrillion. It's much bigger than anything else that humanity has ever seen. And they're all crazy side bets. The biggest banks in the world are involved. They go down, all banks go down. They call them too big to fail banks. And they're going to fail. And one of the ways you can see they're failing is just look at this. This is the 10-year note. This is insane. Look at this. The 10-year note. Remember back in March when everybody said, oh my God, interest rates have gone up so much that all our assets, all our treasury, our safe assets, if we were to sell them today, we'd lose like 60, 70%. No, wait, it was 40 or 50% of the value of those bonds, right? Remember that? And everybody started freaking out and running to get their money out of the bank. People started investing in bonds like, oh my God, I can make 3 or 4% on a bond. Well, now you can make 4 or 5% on a bond. So all the bonds that were sold at the beginning of the year are now underwater. They are all worth less than what you paid for them, unless you hold them for the full duration. That's the problem with fast rising interest rates. That's going on right now. So the banks have been gutted even more. Every single bond that's been sold from today back through, let's take a look, November of 2007, every single one of those bonds, I don't care if it's a 1-year bond or a 30-year bond, they're all underwater on mark to market. If you went to sell them in the market, you wouldn't get the face value of the bond. Let that just sink in for a while. And this isn't stopping. This is part of the crash, part of the takedown, is to gut the banks. So all the banks that said, oh my God, thank God I got through that March run on the banks. Right here, all those assets, it went from 3.4% to 4.5%, over 1.2%, meaning a huge drop in the value of those bonds. Because why would you want a bond that bonds trade in the market? Why would you want a bond paying 2% when you get a bond paying double that or triple that? You don't. So that's why these values are, as interest rates go higher, they print more money. They have a hard time, finding buyers. They got to run out in the market, and people would demand higher rate of return. So all banks are gutted. If you own treasuries, if you try to sell them now, you're gutted. Go look at your financial statements. A lot of people in like nearing retirement are all into bonds because that's the safest, and they're like, holy shit, look at my bond portfolio. If I sell it now, I'm screwed. Or you got to hold it through higher interest rates, meaning you are losing money. The inflation rate is not 4 or 5%. It's really 20%. 15 to 20% now, and moving. That's how much you're losing every year. And when you make your 3 or 4% on your bond, that's how much you're losing. The purchasing power is going down. So how do you get out of it? Well, you tell Congress to stop paying for shit like the Ukraine. The Ukraine is not about saving democracy. It's not about saving the people of Ukraine. It's about the deep state getting taken down. There were 19 biolabs in the Ukraine. An amazing thing I just saw on Zero Hedge. This is going to make everybody sick. Rebooted Clinton Global Initiative licks chops over Ukrainian humanitarian aid. So the Clinton Global Initiative was completely a slush fund for the Clinton family and the deep state. As soon as Hillary Clinton didn't get elected, nobody invested in it anymore. Nobody gave money. Zero. And they closed down. They have just reopened. The now revived Clinton Global Initiative has found a new grift, the Ukraine. But first, a short review. The Clintons, through their foundation, fleeced Haiti to the tune of billions following the 2010 earthquake. I hope everybody understands just how evil this family is, along with the Obamas, along with the Bidens, along with the Bushes. These are the people who have led our lives. Now they're looking to get $20 billion that's supposed to go to the Ukraine. The Ukraine's going to give it to the Clinton Foundation to distribute to the people, and then theoretically they reinvest it in the Ukraine. No, it's going right to the Clinton Foundation for protection, basically. These evil people have to go. So, yeah, $25 billion. U.S. is sending the World Bank $25 billion. Today, the Clinton Global Initiative announced their very own program to rebuild Ukraine. The U.S. is sending the World Bank $25 billion. Then the World Bank is sending the money to the Clintons. And then the Clintons are sending the money to the Ukraine. Yeah, right. Zelensky, by the way, is an actor. Not like Reagan was an actor, got elected president. He is an actor as in they just picked someone who could fill that spot of a criminal, not even a mastermind, just a psychotic cross-dresser. Anyway, don't get me going. All right. So back to what's happening in the U.S. The end of the United States fiscal year is the end of this month, which is next week. And McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, is in deep shit. They're not going to pass this bill. Ukraine's not going to get the extra $25 billion. It's all going to go to shutdown of government, which would be a good thing. Our government is polluted with criminals. Polluted. So, yes, all your tax money right now, if you give it to them, it's going to the Clintons. It's just so screwed. All right. Here's the article on former J.P. Morgan precious metals traders sent into prison. Defendants were J.P. Morgan's former head of global precious metals business and J.P. Morgan's former head of gold trader in New York. So the time frame that this was all happening was the time frame all the gold and silver bugs were screaming at the CFTC that it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. Blythe Masters was leading that charge. Blythe Masters was the direct boss of both of these guys sentenced to prison, and Blythe Masters directly reported to Jamie Dimon. And Blythe Masters was the reason for the 2008 crash with her credit default swaps was her baby. She ran that show like you would not believe. She belongs in jail. Why she didn't go to jail with these guys is a mystery other than the criminal justice system in New York. The regulators are now coming out saying, okay, any bank with over $100 billion or more in assets has to live up to these few things, and all the bankers are freaking out, Jamie Dimon being the number one guy, because you can't hide your off-balance sheet type of stuff. Here is the regulation from the Fed that is proposed, and this is the key is right here. The following, there's a lot of things that they say it just better identifies risk and increase transparency. That's not what Jamie Dimon cares about. What he cares about are these three things. Includes unrealized gains and losses from certain securities in their capital ratios. So that means, for example, when JP Morgan agreed to pay $920 million for rigging the silver market and the gold market, they also that year booked a gain in their metals division of $1 billion. That means they were hiding $1 billion worth of profit on their books, which is pretty easy to do in gold and silver and with our accounting structure and with our regulators. So now it says include unrealized gains and losses from certain securities, which means also unrealized losses from every treasury bill you bought between now and 2007 is underwater. You have to declare those in your capital ratio. And I love it. That's just basically putting these banks out of business if this happens. Comply with supplementary leverage ratio requirement. So the bigger you are, the leverage is how much you can create out of thin air versus how much you have to hold. And a lot of banks just go overboard with the derivatives because they don't count. We don't count those. Remember what Alan Greenspan did in the late 90s. And then comply with countercyclical capital buffer. Jamie Dimon, all these three things would put Jamie Dimon in the spotlight and out of business. The largest bank in the world. So we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, Jamie Dimon is dealing with the fact that he was in bed with, so to speak, and probably literally in bed with Jeffrey Epstein and friends. A bunch of shareholders of J.P. Morgan sued Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan for the dropping the fiduciary duty of saying, hey, this is a pedophile who's using our bank solely for years. They sued him, and then remember this judge's name. Judge Jed Radkoff works for the deep state banking cabal. Judge Jed Radkoff. Look at all the big cases going back, I don't even know how long. They all end up in this judge's hands, and they all get off scot-free. So this judge ruled, no, there's nothing wrong here. And they said, hey, you got a free pass, Jamie Dimon, J.P. Morgan. I'll guarantee you this Judge Jed Radkoff is involved some way on the Epstein side. Don't know yet, haven't done that research, but go check it out. I know a lot of people have been researching this judge and saying, oh my God, how come he gets appointed? It's like the Trump trials. How come certain judges get appointed? Because even our legal system's fucked up. Completely fraud. The whole system's got to go. And that's what Jean-Claude and friends are talking about on this Rumble chat. And that's what I'll be talking about with Jenny Moonstone today. And I'll post that later on the private road at Road to Real. You want to join the private road, go to roadtoreal.com. We are currently giving away one Veritasium token. I think this will be a very important token in our future. It facilitates peer-to-peer transactions based off of Reggie Middleton's patented software that he invented. And that software, by the way, also covers all NFTs, all the DeFi tokens that were invented. Completely violates Reggie Middleton's patent. So I think and they in the U.S. and Japan both granted legal patents to them for a reason, to Reggie for a reason. There's a reason they're holding up Reggie's 98 million of 100 million tokens in limbo. So very difficult to get this token, but we're giving them away, one for each private road subscriber on a renewal or a purchase of 1 year of private road action. That's where you get all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and the Jenny Moonstone stuff is coming up later today, and all kinds of goodies. So go check that out at roadtoreal.com. That's what I got for you. Talk to you later.